Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have a few tips for the new cook, and a lot of you mamas already know these things. Some of you may not. So this is just something that I came across the other day. Well, didn't really come across, I've already known it, but I actually implemented it a few days ago. Okay, so the photo you're seeing right now are the soups that come in a bag, right? Well, when I go to the Amish store, they have these sometimes, and they're roughly 50 cents to $1, where in your store they're what, $3, $4, $5? They're pretty pricey. And in the back, I think it says feeds 4 to 6. Well, a serving isn't going to feed nobody. It's a side dish. It's a cup. It's a cup of soup. Okay, a side dish in the survival food you're buying. When it says 4 servings, it's a serving. You usually have 3 to 4 items on your plate: meat, a vegetable, rice, or potato, right? Well, it's a serving. It's one of those. It's not going to fill anybody up. So you have to actually use 3 to 4 survival food packages to get a full meal. Okay? Well, when you buy these soups, you do not, we're so used to following direction. We're so used to doing what we're told, okay? I want you to get that out of your head. I want you to start thinking a little bit differently, okay? So I wanted to make this soup. I got the creamy and rice chicken, something like that. It was creamy rice chicken or chicken creamy rice or something like that. And I read the back, and it said, I read the directions, and it said, I think it was like 4 servings. It could have said 6. Either way, it's a cup per person. So for it to be a full meal, it'd probably only feed 2 bowls of soup. A good sized bowl of soup, right? So I started thinking, well, that's a bunch of malarkey. So what did I do? I made a roux. What's a roux? Roux is just a thickener. You can use cornstarch, permaflow. Permaflow is better than cornstarch. It's a little bit lighter. And I don't know if you can find it in your stores. I get it from the Amish, but cornstarch is fine. Flour is fine. Okay? Any kind of flour. Potato starch is good. Rice starch. Anything that's going to thicken your food. Okay? The thickener helps it to get thick, but it also helps to coat your stomach. Okay? To feed more people. You can feed more people when you use this, because then you have to add more water, right? So what I did was I sauteed some, first I got, about, you have to remember, for every tablespoon of a thickener, rice, flour, cornstarch, or regular flour, for every teaspoon, or I'm sorry, every tablespoon is a cup of water. You need to add more. So you're going to put 2 to 3 tablespoons of an oil, any kind of a fat, any kind of anything. It could be lard, it could be oil, it could be vegetable oil, olive oil, it doesn't matter, okay? About 2 to 3 tablespoons. Then you put in your tablespoon of flour or thickener. Now you have to decide for yourself, how many people does this have to feed a full bowl to? And you know that this package is only enough for 2 people. And you have 4 people or 6 people in your family. You want to add a tablespoon of the flour, whichever you use, to the 3 tablespoons of oil. That will feed 1 more person. And if you have another one, do another one. But then add 1 more tablespoon of oil. Don't do 3 more tablespoons of oil, 1 more. And then go accordingly. If you have 4 more to add besides the 2 the package will actually serve, you have 4 more, so 4 tablespoons of flour. And 5 tablespoons of oil. When you put it in there and you start to saute it, you can even do butter. Add butter, it might even taste better. As you start to brown it, you want it to get a light golden brown, or less than that. You just want to cook that flour or that thickener, right? As you do that, it's going to start to turn a little bit darker, but do it, on low medium heat. You don't want it to burn, okay? Then you're going to chop up onion, garlic, your staples, onion, garlic, celery, all that good stuff. Now, some of your dishes you may want to add potato or rice, depending on what is in that Progresso soup or whatever package you buy. So I did potatoes in the one that I did, and I diced them up a little bit small, about an inch, big, and that's perfect for a soup. You can do garlic, you can put peas, you can put any vegetable you want, corn. Just look at the package and you decide what vegetable you want to add to it. If you're going to add rice, you do not have to fry it in the pan with the vegetables, okay? You will add that when you add the liquid. So I would say a cup of rice. You can use long grain rice, white rice, brown rice, all grain rice, wild rice. It doesn't matter. Whatever rice you want to use. I would say do a cup. A cup should be plenty of rice. So if you're adding 4 more people to the meal besides the 2 the package serves, a cup of rice, maybe a cup and a half. But I don't think you need more than that. Now what you're going to do is you're just going to put it all in a pot, all the vegetables that you got fresh or in your food storage, whatever, dehydrated, whatever, and you want to saute them in maybe a quarter cup of oil, maybe you have to judge for yourself, but maybe 4 tablespoons of any kind of oil. You just want to saute them, okay? And not fry them, saute. There's a difference. You just want to get them cooked up a little bit. This is when you add your garlic, your onion, all that good stuff. Put it in there and saute it. Potatoes, everything, not rice, okay? Rice you're going to add when you add the water. Now, after about, 10 to 15 minutes of a medium heat saute, then you're going to add your water, okay? You're going to add the water that the package says, and then you're going to add a cup of water for every tablespoon of thickener that you made that roux out of. That's just standard. That's going to keep it even, right? Then you're going to add your rice. This is when you add your rice. After you put the water in, you add your rice. And if you're using pasta, then that's when you add your pasta. Pasta and rice do not get sauteed. They get put in after you put the water in. Now, once you've added everything, your rice or your pasta or your potato, whatever it is, once you've added that and you've added all the liquid, you want to turn the heat up above to medium to a little bit higher, because with that flour, you need that soup to boil to show its true consistency. If it does not boil, you will not find its true consistency. It will show you its true consistency at a boil, okay? I'm not talking a 20-minute boil, okay? I'm talking like, once it starts boiling, you let it go for about 5 minutes while you stir, because you don't want it to burn. Okay, so this is, when you add, if you want to add more chicken, maybe a can of chicken from your food storage. Maybe you have fresh chicken that you have in the fridge that, was already cooked, and, you had chicken sandwiches or something, whatever. Just stay consistent with whatever meat is in that package, okay? If it's chicken soup, don't go do beef. You're not going to like it, okay? So once you add all this other stuff, then you would add your meat, if you're going to have meat at all. Otherwise, don't add it. Then you're going to add whatever seasoning you want to add. Once all the water's in and all the pasta, potatoes, meat and all that, now you want to add your seasoning. Salt being number 1. Do a teaspoon at a time. Put a teaspoon in. I would do at least a quarter teaspoon of pepper. It's always a good flavor to add. Less if you don't like it so spicy, but I'd say at least a quarter teaspoon, if not a full teaspoon. I'd put a whole tablespoon myself. Then you're going to stir that up. Now, if you're going to use a chicken bouillon, be very careful. Add that before you add the salt, because a lot of chicken bouillon, especially that Coors brand, very salty. Very salty. You can oversalt this food so fast. So add any bouillon that you're going to add for the extra flavor before you add your salt. Add the bouillon, taste it. If it's enough, then it's enough. If you need more, then that is when you add more salt, or you add the salt additionally, okay? This is when you're going to add your Italian seasoning or your bay leaf or your thyme, whatever seasoning you're going to add. This is when you want to do it. You can add those seasonings when you're sauteing the other stuff, but it's up to you. You can do it then, or you can do it when the soup is ready to be, to end when you're ready for the final product. It makes no difference. Not to me anyway. Now this is also the time you want to pour in the package of soup that you're going with. Okay? Pour it in there at that moment. And then add your seasonings, because it's, you know, it has a lot of seasonings in it. It might be enough. I don't think it will be, because I had to add some, but add your package at this point. Now you can tell your soup is done when you take out a piece of pasta, let it cool down. Don't try to eat it hot. You're not going to really taste it, okay? Just let it cool down for a hot minute. Taste it. And look for the density of it. Do you want it to be, the pasta to have a bite in it, or do you want it to be really soft? I like soft noodles myself. Rigatoni is really good to put in soups. In my Marler bagging, I show you how to get the spaghetti noodles, and you cut the tips off and put those in a separate baggie for, you know, soup. Throw those in. Any kind of pasta. Just taste it to the consistency that you want, and or the rice. Make sure the rice is cooked. Taste it. If it's cooked, your soup is done. The pasta's cooked, your soup is done. Okay? And that's how you can tell when you're ready to eat, because the vegetables have already pretty much halfway to 3/4 of the way cooked. They're definitely cooked by now. So then all you have left to do is eat it. And some of you might be saying, well, why wouldn't I just leave the bag of soup out and do everything and make soup? You can do that. I'm just showing you how to get that bag. And you can do this with any brand. You can use the Bear Creek brand, this other brand. You can do any brand of bag soup you want. I haven't tried doing it with the canned, but you can still do it with the canned. The can just has liquid in it. Okay, you're going to do everything that I just showed you, and then add the can. You know, it makes no difference really. It's soup. You're just adding to it by using a roux. And if you have more vegetables, add more vegetables. If you don't have more vegetables, and say you have a can of split pea soup, or a can of chicken soup, or whatever, do the roux. You know that can's only enough for one grown man, or, you know, maybe 2 people if you add a can of water or whatever for a small bowl. So what do? You have 6 mouths to feed, 6 tablespoons of oil, 6 tablespoons of flour. Make your roux. You'll know it. You're gonna have to add a little bit more oil than that, but you'll know, because when you start to saute it, it starts to clump up, and it's not like a liquidy substance. You want it to be a little bit liquidy, and if it is clumping up and there's not enough oil, add another teaspoon or another tablespoon, and another one, slowly as you mix it, until it is a nice little consistency on the bottom. You know, you don't want it clumped up in corners and stuff. You want it to be a nice smooth liquid. And then just add your can of soup, add a little bit more salt, pepper, whatever, and that will, believe it or not, you just brought that 1 can and made it 4 cans or 5 cans or 6 cans. It's all you have to do. It's pretty simple. Roux can make your food go a long way. Alright, now let's talk about your refried beans in the can. I usually use 1 can, but before I put the can, I make the roux. And I'll usually do about 4 tablespoons of oil and 1 to 2 tablespoons of flour, sometimes 3, and I make my roux. If the roux is not a liquidy substance, then I add a little bit more oil. You don't want it to be clumpy, okay? You want it to have a nice little, liquid consistency there. I will cook that to the consistency that I want for refried beans. I get it a little bit darker, not dark brown, but like a darker than a tan. And you just saute the flour or whatever thickener you're using, and then you put your can of beans in, and then you add your can of water. I usually add 1 can of water because I want my refried beans to be semi-thick, like really thick, right? So when you do beans, you don't want to do the 1 tablespoon for 1 cup of water. You want to do, 4 to 5 tablespoons of oil, 2 to 3 tablespoons of flour, and only 1 cup of liquid of water. That's all. Otherwise, your beans are going to come out like soup. You're not making soup, you're making more refried beans. You want them thick, okay? You can buy refried beans in the can. I got some in a bag. I was really surprised. I got them for like 30 cents a piece. I got like 7 or 8 bags at the discount store. And I'm going to try them. I haven't tried them yet, but I mean, they're in the Mylar bag. So, I wonder how they do that. I wonder if they just get it and boil it in the canner. You know, I'm going to look into that and see how they actually get it in a Mylar bag. But anyway, that's what you want to do, and that will keep your beans thick. If your beans come out soupy, then get a thickener. Get cold water, not hot. Get cold water, maybe a 1/4 cup. Add 1 to 2 tablespoons of flour. Mix it up with the fork until it's all dissolved. And then pour it in slowly into the beans and stir. That will thicken your beans up. Okay? It's pretty simple. And you can do that with beans that you've already made. You know, you got whole pinto beans, mash them up, and in a saute pan or in another big pot, do the roux. And after you've already refried the beans and mashed them, put them in there, and that's, you know, going to thicken them up. And or you can just eat them like, mash them and eat them like that. But if you want it to feed more people, then do the roux. This whole video is about teaching you that a roux will give you more food per item that you have, whether it be a can of soup, can of beans. Excuse you.
Excuse you.
All right, we're back. We needed a little attitude adjustment there. Everything's just peachy keen. So, as I was saying, this whole video is about making a roux to feed more people. You could do this with any dish you want. Now just keep in mind one thing. When you're looking at your food storage and you have to make a meal, and SHTF is here, and you're like, wow, I don't know how long this food's going to last, and your husband says, we probably got about 4 months worth of food. That is it. You want to start conserving. You want to start doing the roux. You want to start making the food last longer. Instead of using 3 or 4 soup bags, use 1. Instead of using 2 or 3 cans of refried beans, use 1. This is how you extend your food life, okay? So I hope this comes to some help to some of you to have ideas on what you can do to extend your food life. If you have a question or want me to do a video on something else regarding this, but you particularly don't do videos, just send me a message through here or my email, LenaCharlieJeremy@gmail.com. So, yeah. All right. Try these things. Try them now. See how they work for you. All right. Love y'all. Stay safe. Shalom.